Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how to train with different bodies.
Yeah, this was a suggestion from a lot of people on our Discord server. Roger and
Yep.
Levon specifically asked about it. Roger was wondering how he could train effectively with different bodies in the dojo, and also Levon came in more of a technical angle where like certain techniques are favor certain body types. So if your body is just not that type, are you just out of luck, or can you still do those techniques? Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
let's
So,
go
yep.
with the first one, how to train with different bodies at the dojo.
I think you need to vary your judo, jiu-jitsu up according to the person that at certain proficiency levels, it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like when I'm going with someone much lighter than me, I'll go bottom for guard, right? I'll do
Yeah.
open guard, bottom stuff that I'm not good at, right?
Yeah.
Because for me to go with someone that's 60 pounds lighter and try to pressure pass them, I think it's a little bit unfair and using my weight too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I reserve some of this stuff, for some of the heavier guys in the room. And this gives me an area where I could kind of train with everybody,
Mm,
right? And then vary my training to get different things out of every different person.
right. I see.
You know what I mean, I like going for my A game stuff with some of the higher black belts, right? If I'm going even in judo,
Yeah.
but if I'm going with intermediates, I'll try new things,
Hmm.
I'll try new systems, new gripping strategies, whatever it is, and try to hit new moves. And sometimes I'll just give up bad position. Like I'll just be like, all right, take whatever grips you want. Not like in like an arrogant way, but I'll like put myself in bad positions to work out of
Try
it,
to get, yeah.
Especially if someone's lower belt than me and lighter than me. That's a great time to do this because it's much safer.
Right.
If I put myself in bad position against a Kevin Muhammad, who's like one of the bigger guys in the room and he's advanced, he's only gonna throw me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I put myself in Georgian B against a tall Georgian guy that comes to the dojo and he's a black belt, I've never worked out with him before, there's a good chance that he murks me straight to my back,
Hmm.
right? I don't want to take that chance. And it's risky from an injury standpoint.
Right.
You know what I
So I
mean?
guess that goes with a bigger opponent, bigger partners, I guess.
Yeah, bigger partners, I train a certain way. I play a little bit more defensive in the beginning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Just
Bigger
to fill them
partners,
out. Yeah.
yeah, feel them out. And then I try to see what their game is and try to play in a way where I get the most out of it as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Then how come you do pressure pass on me all the
That,
time?
yeah, yeah.
Ah, just kidding. I'm just
I don't
kidding.
get tripod pads by you. But yeah. So I'll
My
mix
bread
it
and
up.
butter.
I really will
Yeah.
mix it up. And then when I'm going with much lighter people in the room, I won't play like a heavy, strong, like lock up and pull them in Harai
Yeah.
Goshi sort of game because I could use my body weight like this, but then it's just not fair, right? So I'll
Yeah.
use like a much more mobility based, like like fast paced judo where I'm gripping a lot, moving a lot, and setting up ashiwaza.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's very important to be able to do that. Somebody who's very tall, you have to be able to be adaptive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have the mentality of I'm going to the gym to win, right? Then you're
Then
never going to
yeah.
try new things. You can always do your best game all the time, try the best shit. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is a great way to, first of all, get discouraged because you're not always going to win. And then a great way to get injured. And your
Oh,
range
yeah.
of judo
Yeah.
is not going to get, obviously, when you're competing at a high level, you have to hone in on stuff you're really good at and double down on that. You really do.
Right.
But for most of you guys who are listening, even finding your best, it's going to take some time. In order to
Right.
find your best strategies and your best type of game that's unique to you, that's truly original, not just trying to carbon copy somebody else's system. Because that's extremely hard to do because that person designed it for themselves for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Right? There's lots of little advantages. I mean, that you don't even see,
Yeah.
you know, knee issues, leg length, limb
Right.
length, how long your torso is. Even when you're like squatting, back squat,
Yeah.
right? Length of your femur and how your hips are angled outwards or inwards, like those things matter so much.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
now, yeah, now,
Yeah.
all these like squat coach and this and that, now they're really starting to take account, right? All these different things.
Mm.
Before it's like, all right, everyone has to work on ankle mobility and everyone should be able to squat ass to grass. That's the worst advice. It really was.
Oh, yeah.
And it really wasn't until
Interesting.
recently that people even started talking about how their hips are set up. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, that's good to hear because, certain movements, like, you just can't do it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the depth of your, what is it, the hip cavity or something? The
Yeah.
bone saga, like how deep it goes. Like all these different things, like everyone kind of knows, right? When you're squatting,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like a
Right,
turnout in
right.
ballet, you
Yeah.
know, right? Everyone like, oh, she has such a great natural turnout, therefore you should be a ballerina, things like this. Some people have that
Mm,
kind of a hip structure.
yeah.
If that's the case, you're not going to be able to squat the traditional way.
Yeah, I
I mean,
can't spread them out like that. Yeah.
yeah, so same type of thing in judo, right? You can't just copy Koga's Ippon Senagi if you're freaking 6'4".
Right, because Koga wasn't 6'4".
No, and
Yeah.
Uchimata by Inoue. I mean, like balance, coordination, athleticism. Maybe you're just not athletic. Maybe it just
Yeah.
doesn't work for you. So, like trying all these different games, trying all these different systems. After you've been proficient enough, I'm talking like intermediates here, right? Beginners
Yeah,
just
yeah.
stick with what your teacher tells you and just kind of drill them. But
Right.
like when you're entering the intermediate level, which is blue, purple, and black, brown belt.
Yeah, from the previous episode, yeah.
Yeah. Like once you're entering that, that's your real exploration phase.
Right.
Right?
And then,
So
to do that, you need to go with different body and
different
then
body
try
types,
to
try new things.
different
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
actually, that's a
yeah.
good segue to the next question, Levon's question. Like you kind of alluded to it, for Koga, his famous Ippon Seoinage was probably specifically tailored to his body type, and Inoue's, Uchimata, Ono's Uchimata, like not a lot of people can do that movement. So, and then the classic is like, oh, can a tall person do a drop Seoinage? Like all these things. Like if, they're all throws have, natural body type that they will favor.
Mhm.
So do you try to just stick to them, the natural tendencies, or do you try to can people who may not have the natural body type for certain throws still do?
Yeah.
Like
100% you
you
can.
had that problem as an athlete too, no? Like because you're on the heavyweight, but not a tall person.
Oh, I'm not tall.
Yeah. So like,
5'11" on Tinder.
that's tall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, how would you do that? Like, well, you couldn't bomb everyone. Like, you can bomb me with
Mm.
Uchibara because we're about the same height, but you couldn't do that with Kapalik.
Oh yeah. I
Like,
mean, Kropalik is 2-time Olympic gold medalist. You know what I
yeah,
mean? He
well,
actually
yeah.
came
There's more than just the height, I
yeah.
guess.
But even tall guys I could throw Uchimata. Not the way I throw shorter guys. So there's
Oh,
a
okay.
Uchimata style that I do against taller guys versus Uchimata that I do against guys who are within like 3 inches of my height, which is lower or taller. Up until about 5'11", 6 foot, I could lift and bomb Uchimata. Anything
Is that
higher becomes a little bit harder. The way I
So,
do it.
are you saying these throws you can modify
Yes,
to?
absolutely. Yeah, the backstep
see.
Uchimata, like I could do it and then stuff their head, right? And then
Mm,
throw anyone who's really, really tall. I can. You know what I mean?
mm,
But the hands and the off balance and the initial phase of the throw becomes much more important because I need to bring their head down, right?
yeah,
Even if I could lift my leg this way, my leg length is not that long, it's much shorter. If I could
yeah.
stuff their head to the floor, I don't need as much leg length and leg height. You see what I mean?
Right.
Seinagi also. If I just turn on someone 6'2", I'm already beneath the center of gravity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a tall person to get below me with Seinagi, it's a much more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
But person who's 6'2", can they do a drop Seinagi on a 5'8" person that's that has no experience in judo? Yeah, of course they can.
Yeah.
Snapping them down, their body's coming up, and then as they're going underneath, they dive right in. 100% you could do it. The idea is to try this stuff in sort of a reduced intensity situation. Because
Like
people do
cooperative drills.
uchikomi. Yeah, cooperative drill. Do people go 100% cooperative uchikomi combination, and then they go to randori, and there's a 0 to 100 thing. Completely different, right? There's no progression to that. It just dives right into 100% speed, like, going against somebody who's trying to throw you. Now they're resisting, trying to counter you. There's a huge gap between what you're doing in a cooperative setting and a non-cooperative setting. So you got to bridge that gap and then work sort of in that spectrum, right? Sometimes I'm going with somebody who's my size, but I'm trying new things. They're letting me try new things by going 50% speed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe this person has a shoulder injury, right? Maybe I'm nursing a knee thing. So, hey, let's just kind of like do this back and forth drill where it's like semi-live. And that's kind of where you experiment on new stuff. You know what I mean?
So
You
it
could
seems
do
like the
this.
theme,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the theme is that it's about letting yourself explore a lot of different venues. I mean, there's no silver
Yes.
bullet on like, oh, if you're tall and you have short arms, you do this and that. Like it's really different based on your body and your partner's body. So and well, let's just ground it a little and just kind of go through a scenario. So Levon specifically asked like person with long legs can hit Georgian and then like go for leg sweeps. Like, are there more details about that, or is it just like do they come naturally? Like, let's kind of talk about
Mm.
tall person doing Georgian.
Okay.
Like
So this is the thing,
anything
right?
to look for? Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, tall person can easily get to Georgian A.
yeah,
Georgian B, because they're shorter, they get forced into Georgian B when their
right,
Georgian arm comes down the back.
yeah,
So it's a battle of who knows that position better. Me,
right,
who's Georgian B, or this person who's taller who's doing Georgian A. You know what I mean? If I don't like that position at all, if I don't know that position at all, yes, that natural height advantage of being able to get there and then harassing with the legs and going to Soto
yeah,
is a huge advantage, right? But because
right,
my hips are lower, and if I can trap their hips and lock my elbows back so they can't turn my shoulder, now it's limiting a portion of their game. You see what I
right,
mean? So yes, body type matters kind of there. It's very, very difficult for me to get Georgian on a much taller person,
yeah, right.
which means I don't have a lot of time in that position. So there's
Well,
definitely
you can still hit it.
natural.
Yeah,
I
if
can
you
still hit it.
modify.
I'm pretty good
Yeah,
there, against
yeah,
somebody that doesn't know it. You know what I mean?
right,
Will I ever go try a Georgian A, like going over the back Georgian
yeah,
A versus Georgian B, right? So they're kind of like, if one person has Georgian A, then you have Georgian B. I kind of
right,
like to distinguish it. And if you have no
yeah.
idea what I'm talking about, you should look it up on YouTube, my Georgian A B system.
Uh,
So yeah, it's like if someone really knows that position and they're taller than me, I'm have a very difficult time getting to that position first and foremost. And I'm not gonna be good there, especially if they don't know how to deal with it. They know how to do
right,
Georgian
right.
B. So like that makes it that my body type is not as good, you know,
Then do
for
you
this system.
practice Georgian A against people like that, or like do you
So this is
try
the
to
thing, right?
practice Georgian A? Yeah,
If a Georgian guy walks in, he's like, "Oh, I'm from Georgia, I want to do a judo here." I'm not
yeah,
gonna try to like
like
stay
a
in the
new
pocket
thing.
and work with them,
Yeah,
especially when I know the position enough, right? But I'm not gonna play their game, especially the first time I'm meeting them, because there's a risk involved.
right.
He dives in for a solo or does a Jordan Bakari roll where you dive into my back.
Yeah,
It's too much risk, injury risk as well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I won't play that. But if that's something that I want to get good at, then I'll do it with someone who's lighter than me, someone who's taller than me, but lighter than me, or someone who's working on Georgian A. Be like, yo, I'll give you Georgian A. Let's stay in the pocket a little bit and play there. We'll do
yeah.
like a reduced 30 to 50% thing. Can I learn that position well? Yes, I can. Can I get good at forcing Georgian A and then being good in that position against someone who's proficient? Yeah, I could train that specifically by communicating with my partners and picking the right people to train with. Even
Right,
if they're
I see.
tall, right? For instance, if I'm going up against someone that's 6'2" that doesn't know the position well, right? Getting there is part of it. Okay. So I'm going to do collar, show Ippon Senagi, snap down double collar, then forcing that hand over the back. So
Right.
now I'm pretty good at that. So I could probably force it pretty good, right? And now they immediately go for the tricep grip, and now the game begins. You
Mhm,
see what I mean?
I see.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of
So you can overcome it.
Yeah.
Overcome it. Yeah.
So you have to be strategic about who you go with and then the intensity and yeah,
Because when people are
and
freaked out, they dive to the
yeah,
floor, and then that's all sorts of risk to your knees. You know what I mean?
right.
People don't really know it, and then go for a Georgian A, like diving Harai Makikome. Yeah, you can land on your shoulder and get injured,
Hmm.
you know?
I've gotten that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so getting like comfortable in the pocket there first is really important. And
There's
getting the
also
other person,
this also underscores the fact how important it is to have a lot of people in your dojo, like different body, different skills, different types of body, and yeah,
yes, I mean, well, you don't need that many. I mean, you kind of teach all the stuff. If your coach knows this system too, then you could everyone can kind of learn bits and pieces of it,
Mhm.
and, right?
And then like go back and forth and drill it, active drilling and
Active
yeah.
drill, light, low intensity, you know, exercises and such. I mean,
Yeah.
yes,
All right.
Randori is
So
fun, but go 100% Randori every single time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is like, you can definitely modify, just to sum up, you can definitely modify these techniques to fit your bodies. And you can pretty much anything you can to theoretically, you're saying, right? Like you can modify them to fit your bodies. But the important thing is, to get there, you have to experiment a lot with uh people you can trust so that you won't get injured you know, and then you have to be strategic. You have to take small steps to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to give partner, if you're outweigh the guy, if you're much stronger than the person, just grabbing them and pulling them in and forcing
Yeah.
stuff, it's not going to help either. You know what I mean?
And then the
Stuff that you
person
can,
won't want to go with you anymore.
they won't want to go with you. And then all of a sudden you want to, train against someone that does like quick drop sit nagis. That guy not want to work out with you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that stuff that you're training of like going over the back, wrenching them and just ripping it because you're much heavier, that's not going to work on someone your size and weight.
Yeah.
So why freaking do it? If your goal is to like win in the practice, then then you can do that. But like you're not getting
But
much
that's
out of it. The
yeah.
goal in training is to learn and get better, not to win every
Right.
match. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Right.
could win
Right.
every match and go into training like that, but I won't get a lot out of it. Sometimes you want to like I've never worked out with this guy before. I want to beat his ass. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of that sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But majority of the time, you should be working on new things, and then you should be going with different body types, and then adjusting your game plan accordingly. You want to devise a strategic game, B game, losing position game, and while the transition stuff, working out a bad position, and best way to work out of a bad position is going with someone smaller than you.
Hmm.
Give them your back,
Man,
right? Try to work out of that,
I feel like I've gotten so lazy with these things because I'm like doing the sensei judo, as you say.
Yeah.
I got
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world,
Yeah, I guess. All right, well, yeah, we covered a lot, I think. Anything else about different body types? Training with them? Yeah.
Different body types, knowing partner's injuries and staying away from them, keeping your partner safe. If you're the guy or girl in the room that everyone wants to work out with, because this is the type of person you can work out with anybody, I guarantee you'll get better because you'll
Yeah.
never be sitting on the sidelines waiting for a round. Because everyone will want
Right.
to work out. You got to be like Eugene. Eugene's
Oh, yeah.
cousin in the room. Everybody wants to work out with Eugene because he's safe, and he's just a great partner.
Yeah.
Want to be a good partner. It's like me in jiu-jitsu. Everyone want to roll me. I think. Even when I go stand up with them, right? Even people want to go stand up with me. In the beginning, people were like, "Oh man, I don't know if I want to," but I never bomb anybody. I never land on anybody. So 95% of the time, these guys who normally are kind of scared to do stand up feel comfortable with me doing stand up
Mhm.
because there's much lower risk.
Right.
And I let them work on stuff. For me to like just take them out right away with a judo throw and land on them, like what the fuck is the point of that?
Yeah.
Throwing them to side control and pinning them there and holding them there. It's like, why? It's not going to get any better.
Because you already know how to
rather-
do that. Yeah.
I'd rather them like work their takedown and then me pull guard and then like work open guard and sweep them and end up trying to pass. Like that's a much more, I get more out of that,
Yeah.
than like just taking someone down.
That's right. All right. Well, everyone, let's try to be a good partner.
Be a good partner.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.